You didn't become cruel by accident. You told yourself strength meant permission. If you could overpower it, if you could outrun it, or if you could survive it, then you deserved it. And anyone who couldn't keep up became expandable. This shard comes from an in-world interview. A reporter sits down with a member of the Animals gang in Pacifica, and what you're about to hear isn't propaganda. It's how they see themselves. In Night City, the Animals don't see themselves as criminals. They see themselves as realists. They believe that humans are weak by default, that they're soft. They believe they're fragile and temporary. So they remake themselves into something else. They use steroids and growth hormones, metal claws and reinforced jaws. Not because they love technology, but because they don't trust it. See, they won't install anything that can be hacked. No processors in the head, no wires that let someone else pull the strings. Only upgrades that make them harder to kill. 'Cause see, to them, strength isn't vanity, it's survival. And weakness isn't something to be healed, it's something to be erased. And that's why they call themselves animals. Not as a joke or a brand, but as a warning. And the interview in this shard makes this clear. When asked why they reject cybernetics, the answer isn't philosophical, it's practical. See, if it can be controlled, it could be used against you. But muscle and steel, teeth and claws, yeah, that belongs to you. There's no master switch, there's no override button, just plain force. This is their worldview in its purest form. 'Cause the world is hostile. Power is protection and mercy is a liability. And here's the dangerous part. Nothing that they say is obviously false. 'Cause Night City does reward strength, and it punishes softness. And see, people do get used. They get discarded and crushed the moment that they stop being useful. The Animals didn't invent this logic. They just committed to it completely. They took a half-truth and turned it into a religion. But watch what happens when strength becomes the only value. If you're strong, you matter. But if you're weak, you don't. There's no grace. There's no patience. There's no room to recover. Just dominance. And that's why the interviewer feels like prey the moment that they sit down. 'Cause see, he's already lost. Not because he did something wrong, but because he doesn't look dangerous enough. And in their world, that's all that matters. And here's where this shard stops being about Night City. Because this mindset does not stay in gangs. It shows up everywhere. In work, in leadership, in masculinity, and how people measure worth. 'Cause see, when strength becomes the only currency, everything else gets stripped away. Empathy becomes weakness, rest becomes laziness, and limits become excuses. And eventually, so does being human. 'Cause the Animals say humans are weak by nature, but what they really mean is that they're afraid of being powerless again. They're afraid of the version of themselves that had no leverage, no teeth, no armor. So they build bodies that no one can ignore, and they surround themselves with people who think the same way. Because if everyone agrees strength is the only law, then no one ever has to ask what they lost to get it. And that's why this interview ends with a threat. Not because they're angry, but because intimidation is the only language that they trust. They say stuff like, "Don't mess with us or we'll tear you apart." And see, that's not confidence, that's insurance. Because this shard isn't asking you to admire them, and it's not asking you to hate them either. It's asking a harder question. What happens when survival becomes your entire identity? When being unbreakable matters more than being whole? When strength stops being a tool and becomes the point? Because once you decide weakness is unforgivable, you don't just eliminate enemies, you eliminate anyone who can't keep up, including parts of yourself. And Night City is full of people who did exactly that and still ended up empty.